Google is tossing their hat into the ride sharing market. Now, Google is preparing to expand a San Francisco carpooling program in a move that could set up a showdown with its one-time ally, the popular ride-hailing service Uber. The plans will build on a test service that Google's navigation app Waze launched 3 months ago in the San Francisco Bay Area. This program allows anyone using the Waze app to offer a ride to a limited pool of people trying to get to work or home. Now, this is an electronic version of what Washington, D.C. has been doing for years with their slug lines, where people line up at a big office area and wait for folks driving to certain residential areas. Random riders hop in so drivers can make use of the high occupancy vehicle lanes on that busy beltway. And believe me, people will go to great lengths to be able to use HOV lanes in D.C. Now, Google says that they're not looking to make money for itself or the drivers. They just want a flat per mile fee to help cover cost. Waze, well, it's already one of the most popular navigation traffic systems, so this makes a lot of sense from a existing market penetration point of view. The questions are many. I mean, will this be only for people that sign up? Will it be just for their friends? There are a lot of details that haven't been disclosed by Google. Now, Lou, I'm curious, you're in a part of the world where there is a lot of commuting. Is this the kind of program that you can see succeeding in an area, well, like the Great Pacific Northwest?
I do. That's a good question. I think I do actually see that. I see a lot of these van pool, they call van pools. People drive around, and even at Microsoft, you get special parking if you're kind of like an HOV, high occupancy type vehicle. And so I see that a lot around here where people are taking shuttles and so on, because we don't have necessarily the mass transit that that a lot of other cities have, including San Francisco and so on. So I think, this could actually succeed here. Now, the question is, how safe is it? Depends on how Google implements it. Is it just based off of people that you know or people that you're friends with? And if that's the case, how it might make it less effective. Now, it's similar to Uber, where Uber's kind of like sky's the limit. Then it might be more effective. But in that case, I don't necessarily think it's a direct competitor. This, the article that we were reading about this sounds like it's a direct competition to Uber, but this just sounds like an additional feature they wanted to add to maybe help people that necessarily know each other. Because Waze, you only really have people that kind of built into it. It's built into Facebook. It has a Facebook login. It kind of has people that in there. So it might be useful for people that coworkers, workers, friends, family members, where then you can share rides to different areas, especially if you go in the right direction. Now, if they open it up to the public, then I'd say it's getting very close to an Uber-like service that's now free. So it should be interesting how they kind of roll this thing out.
That it should. Now, Brian, I know that you live in a part of the world where right now there's a big political battle over mass transportation. How can you see something like this working in an environment like Oahu? Is this something that is similar to an informal system that a lot of people use, or do you think this one would have trouble gaining traction for people commuting into Honolulu?
Oh, no, I think this would be just absolutely amazing for Honolulu. We have such insane traffic that getting people off the street and, doubling up or tripling up in cars makes a huge amount of sense. And, as great as these van pool programs are, it still costs the government a heck of a lot of money because the government is handling the lease on that vehicle. Why bother? Why not just capture the people that are going in the same direction? I like this. And if I could limit it to friends, or if I'm feeling generous and I need that HOV lane, maybe make it so I can opt in for a public, anyone in the area. If it's random, like the slug lines in DC, the slug lines have had some problems. We've had some people that have done silly things, but for the most part, because it's so random, the slug lines have had a relatively low amount of dangerous people. And the people in line, I used to catch the slug lines out into the Vienna area from the Pentagon, and it was great. I had some guys in my offices that don't even own cars because the slug lines work so well. Now, if we could quantify this and make it electronic with Waze, oh my God, this could take an amazing number of cars off the street. And I'm surely hoping that people like the University of Hawaii will go and make this a lot easier to implement by, say, providing premium parking, just like Redmond does for Microsoft.
Before we go, Lou, I want to come back to you because, you know, you are a development manager. And so from the point of view of developing something like this, do you see a massive difference in the development effort if they maintain it as just friends or open it to the general public? Is that going to be one of the things that they consider to decide which way to go?
You know, it all depends. I mean, this from the network scale standpoint, I think, you know, you'll have a graph no matter what, and then whatever user sees is kind of filtered to their view. So I don't necessarily think it will change their middle layer and their back end. My guess is the way they've built it out is scalable in the sense where it doesn't matter what your groups are. You know, they can organize whatever you see and filtered based off of whatever your settings are, whatever your filter settings are. So I don't think so. You know, this, like I was just mentioning to Chad, this is a little bit too much like organized hitchhiking for me. So I think I'm again, Brian was saying, hey, there could be ways to do this safe. I'm play devil advocate here. I'm a little uncomfortable with it. So I don't know if it is opened up to the world and the people surrounding you, it might be a little uncomfortable for anybody to use it. So I don't know if it'll ever kick off if that's the case. But either way, I think it should be interesting to see.
I have to agree. I think it's going to be very interesting to see this wonderful place where social norms and social needs meet technology. It's one of those areas where we almost always get some interesting results.